Well, in a rather surprising move that seems to have come almost out of nowhere, at the very least a little bit earlier than expected, we've learned a bunch of brand new things about Destiny 2's future, including the release date of the next DLC pack, the name of that next DLC pack, and even the return of some very interesting things in the future. What's going on, guys? My name is the Black Link, and that's right, all of that and more in today's video. Now, if you've been plugged in at all to the Destiny community, you guys will know, especially if you've been watching on my channel, we've been talking a lot about the upcoming DLC pack, when we'd be seeing maybe our first trailer for it, when we'd be hearing more about it and what's going to be in it. We got our first glimpse at that today, as Bungie finally updated their Destiny 2 development roadmap for the summer. And over the course of this video, we're going to be reading exactly what's in that roadmap. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and dive on into this article. It reads like this. Since the beginning of this year, we've been setting more specific expectations for the work we're doing to support Destiny 2. With some Season 2 updates in our rearview mirror, it's time to look further into the future. Before we take a look at our development priorities, Game Director Christopher Barrett has some commentary on our goals for this summer and beyond. And this is what Chris had to say today. The team is very excited to extend the roadmap and share with you some of the big stakes we're putting in the ground. Recent updates have focused on immediate issues to the live game, but in the coming months, our vision for the future is converging with critical player feedback to deliver transformative changes to Destiny 2. We'll be diving deeper into each one of the listed items soon, and there's even more that we can't quite talk about yet. But for now, it's all hands on deck to make sure we deliver on our promise to restore Destiny 2 to the hobby we all love. And just stopping right there, I kind of love the way that line sounds. I've said for the longest time that Destiny 2 isn't like Destiny 1. It's not the game that I get up and want to play every day and, have a reason to play every day. And I'm glad that they're focusing on that, on making changes based on community feedback to make it that game you not only want to get up and play every single day, but a game that rewards you for getting up and playing every single day. Anyways, let's continue. Here's the new roadmap spanning the entire summer. And then we get our new Destiny 2 development roadmap graphic. You can see Update 1.1.4, which we just got, that was the Go Fast update a few weeks ago. The next one is 1.2.0, which we now know is indeed dropping on May 8th. Those previous leaks wound up being true. They all said that the DLC and the Season 3 was going to be starting on May 8th, and it looks like that's going to be the case. And if you take a look there, you'll also notice we got a new name for Season 3 and the content that's coming with it. Warmind. We'll be talking a little bit about that later. But let's move on to the summer. They've added a couple of new things to the summer. We're going to be getting a new seasonal event, faction rally improvements, bounties, PC clan chat, and exotic armor sandbox changes. Now that's actually really interesting. I think previously the exotic armor sandbox changes were just a part of the exotic weapon sandbox changes. They made a big deal about how this is going to be the first time they really kind of retooled exotic armor as well as exotic weapons. And now we know that's been pushed off to the summer. But there's some other really interesting stuff there. Stuff like bounties. We haven't seen bounties basically at all in Destiny 2. And that's something that we had plenty of in Destiny 1. Remember, we had those dedicated bounty bots and stuff for Crucible where you could go pick up quests, go complete those out in the world, and they would result in legendary items and all kinds of other things like currency and weapon parts and stuff like that. That was a system from Destiny 1, especially Year 1 in Destiny 1, that was actually tied into exotic bounties as well. Completing a bunch of bounties for the bounty bot was how you got some of those Vanguard mentor missives that upon completion would randomly give you a chance at the quest for stuff like the Thorn, the Bad Juju, the Pocket Infinity, a lot of those classics from D1. Anyways, that's what's coming in summer. After that, we've got Season 4 starting in September. This is going to be around the time we get the big new expansion. And here's what's going to be coming during that time period. We've got gear collections, that's interesting, records, weapon slot changes, and then this next one. If weapon slot changes weren't big enough for you, this next item kind of blew my mind a little bit. Weapon randomization. Now, what does that mean? Kinda sounds a bit like some random rolls for the weapons and hopefully some of the armors and whatnot that you're picking up out there in the world. Well, maybe hopefully for the armors. I guess they could just replace randomization with mods and whatnot for armors. But that's very interesting. So they are looking at weapon randomization in some way, shape, or form. Does this mean completely random rolls are coming back? We're not too sure about that. All we know is that they've got that slated for the September change, which goes right on schedule with what I've been saying about big systemic changes like adding back random perk rolls for weapons or for changing the weapon slot system. I always said that wouldn't be coming until like the big expansion later this year, and it looks like it's on tap. It's actually happening, which is of course something that's very, very exciting. I'm really looking forward to hearing more about what they've got in mind for weapon randomization moving forward. It could just be introducing a change with the mod system, where mods will determine what kind of perks you can add and subtract from weapons and whatnot. It really could be anything. All we know is that they're looking at a way to make your weapon rolls different and more unique, and I am very happy to see that. And finally, they say they've got more that's yet to be revealed. To me, that means the expansion, whatever that's going to be called and whatever story it's going to bring. But alright, those are the changes on the Destiny 2 development roadmap. I could make my own separate videos for all of that kind of stuff, and you know what, I'm a YouTuber, I probably will make my own video speculating a bit on what that weapon randomization means, but I'm very happy to see it there, and I know some of you guys out there in the comments are going to have some very interesting ideas for it. But alright, let's move on. Next up, they say, the community has been talking a lot about some of the things we're developing for Season 4. Our goals for these features are to give you more control over how you configure your loadouts in Destiny 2, and give you more reasons to play the game over time. We also want to bring back those exciting moments when you acquire the perfect weapon. I don't know about you guys, but the way all of this sounds, this is definitely seeming to me like it's leaning more towards random perks on weapons. Weapons having variable perks that they can drop with, which I'd be fine with that. Anyways, to make this happen, updates like weapon randomization, weapon slot changes, gear collections, and records will be delivered to all players. We now have a plan for raid prestige changes, including raid layers, and we'll update where it will land in the next development roadmap. Mod changes are being incorporated into our new plan for weapon randomization. Alright, so just based off of that, it looks like we were right about the whole mod thing and how that was going to have a hand in the way you can kind of change up your better devils so it's not the exact same as every other better devils you've gotten. Which is good. The mod system definitely feels half-baked in Destiny right now, and I'm glad that they're not only looking at incorporating some sort of randomization with weapon perks. I know I keep saying this, but I'm kind of excited about it. I'm happy about that. The chase for that perfect god-rolled weapon with the exact perk setup you want was a huge part of Destiny 1. It was a huge reason for why I continued to actively play that game, running stuff like Nightfalls and PvP and raids and whatnot for you guys week in and week out, was for that chase for those perfect weapons, and I'm very happy to see something like that returning to Destiny 2. But moving on, they say, on May 8th, with the beginning of Season 3, we're also launching the second expansion to Destiny 2. It's simply called Warmind. That's right, not Gods of Mars, not the fallen Warmind, just Warmind. And it will send you to new places to meet new heroes and battle new enemies. You'll earn new loot and master new activities. Today, we're naming it and dating it. You'll learn more in a reveal stream on April 24th. Mark your calendars and follow us on Twitch. And that right there is absolutely huge. This is exactly what we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks. So now, we have finally got our name. For Destiny 2 Episode 2, it's going to be called Warmind, and it is indeed dropping on May 8th. Those previous leaks were correct in that the May 8th was going to be the release date. And we'll be seeing our first trailer for it April 24th. Now this is actually really surprising to me. If it's launching on May 8th and we're getting our first trailer on April 24th, that is a really short turnaround period. Meaning they're not going to have that much advertising time to get the word out about this DLC for anybody who didn't buy the season pass for Destiny 2. So they're going to have to engage in the upsell here in the next couple of weeks. So, super excited about that, cannot wait to learn more about it. They did mention that we're going to be battling new enemies. Now, one of the previous leaks, actually I think two of the previous leaks, which both speculated May 8th as being the release date, I think they both talked about one of the new enemies being frames. Frames are of course some of those robots you see working around the towers, think stuff like the sweeper bot. Does that mean that rumor, that part of the rumor is going to be true? Maybe not, but we are looking to see some new enemies here, and we do know it's going to be Warmind and very possibly Siva based, so keep your eyes peeled. Cannot wait to learn more about that in the future. But alright, moving on here. Season 3 marks the beginning of a new plan for how we deliver Crucible content. For every player of Destiny 2, we'll be releasing all of the new Crucible maps being developed from Warmind into matchmaking. The same goes for the maps we released with Curse of Osiris. To keep the community and the Crucible unified, everyone will see new arenas in match-made playlists like Quick Play, Competitive, Trials of the Nine, Iron Banner, as well as the new weekly rotations that include Rumble and Mayhem. That means more opponents for everyone. With the arrival of private matches, players will need to purchase each expansion to have exclusive access to play those Crucible maps with other players in a private match. This plan goes into effect on May 8th with the beginning of Season 3. Now, I've actually got another video coming out talking about this, but this is an incredible change. Basically what they're saying is when the new DLC starts to come out, and I think this is probably going to be a thing moving forward, at least with Destiny 2, those new Crucible maps that are introduced are just going to be open and available for everyone to play. It's just going to be added into the normal quick play, competitive, and weekly playlists. So everyone, whether you've bought the DLC or not, you will have access to these new DLC maps. That's great. It's kind of a way to keep the remaining population from splintering off, cutting it basically into a further fraction of people who bought this new content and people who haven't, rather than splitting up those communities because, of course, population is down in the game. They're going to just unify the playlist so everybody gets to play this new content. The only thing you're going to have restricted access to is, of course, these maps in private matches, which are set to release in Update 1.2.0 on May 8th. Like I said, I've got a video talking about that coming out probably sometime tomorrow, but that's an incredible change. That's something I think a lot of other game companies could probably do, and I'm very happy to see it's happening here in Destiny 2. Anyways, let's move on a little bit. After that, they show their post-launch content poster. This was something they made to talk a bit about what content's going to be free to everybody when new DLC comes out and what content is going to be locked behind that paywall of DLC purchases. They kind of had to make this in response to some of the controversy from locked content like Nightfalls and whatnot when Curse of Osiris came out. Thankfully, they changed the way that works. But they're just showing it here to emphasize the fact that new PvP maps are going to be available basically for everybody in rotation. But finally, they finish things up by saying this: the usual conversation about our creative process will continue. Expect to learn more about the new features on the roadmap as we delve deeper into developer commentary. If these plans change, and plans have a way of doing that, we'll keep refreshing this roadmap on a monthly basis. Thanks for coming along with us on this journey. Thanks for your feedback, and thanks for playing. And there we go, Guardians. A lot of information packed into that there's absolutely no way I could cover in just one video, but some really interesting stuff. First, May 8th is the confirmed release date not only for Season 3, but for DLC Pack 2, Warmind. That means we've got less than a month before the DLC pack itself is coming out. We'll be getting our first real glimpse at a trailer for it on April 24th, so that's still a little ways away. But additionally, we've got some summer changes, and then Season 4 will be dropping in September, probably around the usual time that big expansions drop for Destiny. And it's going to incorporate weapon slot changes and weapon randomization. In some way, shape, or form, your random rolled perks are coming back, baby. A lot of this is really great to hear. This is a lot of really good stuff, and I'll say it, I'm really looking forward to learning more about some of the changes that are coming, not only next month, but in the months to come. It's definitely looking like they're taking some very solid steps forward to making Destiny that hobby-based game that I want to come back and play day in and day out. But alright, Guardians, that is just your wrap-up of all the news that dropped today. I'm going to have some more in-depth stuff coming out in the coming days, so make sure you're staying tuned, make sure you're subscribing, hitting that notification bell so you're staying up to date with all the latest Destiny 2 news. There's a lot of stuff to cover. And what are your thoughts on this? Are you surprised about the release date for DLC Pack 2? Are you excited to learn more about weapon randomization and weapon slot changes in the future? Be sure to let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. But anyways, I'm out for now. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, I am the Black Link. You Guardians, stay frosty.